Thanks for staying with us here on TVC Breakfast. It's not time for us to look at what the papers are reporting. If you look at the Nation newspaper, it says President Tinubu commissions newly constructed A2 junction, that's Abuja to Lokoja Road, to Pai Town today. The Hope newspaper, Constitution Amendment begins. Senate holds zonal public hearing, targets local government autonomy, state police, new states in public hearings. The next paper, Leadership newspaper, speaks to the same thing. Constitutional amendment, Senate considers 31 proposals for state creation, receives 7 requests from Northeast, 6 from Northwest, 3 from Southeast, etc. We'll talk about that. Daily Trust is looking at gory sides to things that had happened over the weekend. Plateau killings, death toll hits 13 as survivors narrate ordeal. And the rider reads, victims buried in Mango, Kwanpan. This Nigeria, Borno suicide bombing, flush out remnants of Boko Haram. President charges security. Nigeria News Direct, appeal court judgment, showdown as PDP chairman set to resume at Secretariat today. Followed by Abuja Inquirer, Wike under fire over council's workers' strike. 607 schools, 239 clinics remain closed for 4 months. Platform Times, Rivers Council boss flogged with cutlass, forced to sign resignation by thugs. That will make for an interesting conversation. And then if you look at the Punch newspaper, Iran-Israel, petrol may hit 1,000 naira per litre as oil price soars. Daily Independent, struggling banks face hurdles to navigate recapitalization. About 10 of them, 10 lenders under CBN watch for recapitalization risks. And the Sport Alive says $250,000 flight ticket to Brazil. Mikel under fire for demanding refund. Siasia Jinadu say ex-Chelsea star lied. If you're broke, find another hustle. Interesting. I'm wondering whether there is another hustle beyond what they already have on the pitch. But then I'll be doing this with my colleagues, guys. Quite interesting too.
With my colleagues.
Let's start off with the newspaper of repute, the Nation newspaper, which is talking to us, giving us the infographics of the presidents who will be inaugurating, these roads. The commissioning of the newly constructed road from A2 Junction, Abuja, Lokoja Road to Pai Town. So we've been seeing that this administration, talking about economic reforms, etc., is also working on infrastructure. Because by the time we're saying that we want food to get to the people, but the roads are bad, how do they get there? So what do you make of it?
And I have always said it that Wike is a builder. The guy just likes building. So you give him a position like Minister for the FCT, he is going to do a lot of developmental projects. You want to take his tenure as governor of River State into consideration. He did so many things there. So it's just he's continuing, and this is the kind of news we would love to hear. Not all the this one did that and that one did that. It's a breath of fresh air to hear that kind of development is happening, and it's going to be commissioned today.
The roads are going to be fine, they're going to be smooth, but I hope Ria, your driver, is not going to drive 120.
But I tell you something, even from River State, we've seen how Wike is when it comes to building. And like you said, he's a builder, I give it to him. He's doing a fantastic job. But I'm going to come to Uncle Sam on this, because I feel like normal Nigerians, they still feel like they don't even see this. As long as there's no food on their table, they still believe there's hardship, and they don't even see like the good that is happening when it comes to road infrastructure in Abuja.
It is hard to argue against an empty dinner table.
Yeah.
It is very hard.
It is,
but that is why there's need to always tell them that this thing takes time, and it is our country. Our country must not collapse.
Yeah.
And to build a country, you have to create the enabling environment, and infrastructure is one of the fundamental features that you must have as a country in order to galvanize development. And we are seeing the fruits all across the country. That's why when Rotimi Amechi says that he didn't see what they did with the oil subsidy money, I wonder in what country he's living in, So
and adding that, he's also hungry.
Yeah, she said he's also hungry as well.
But what is happening to people like Michi? I don't know whether we're going to banter on the new platform. El Rufai is that they are rich but bored.
Oh, okay.
So they want an activity. They have something to keep going on.
You're talking about Ada. Sorry, you're talking about Ada, the new
ADA,
coalition.
Some people call it Ada, which is cutlass.
Cutlass.
So what are they trying to do? We have enough violence in the country already.
All right, guys, let's look at the Hope newspaper as well as the Leadership newspaper. They've united on what we've been talking about, which is the Constitution Amendment. So they're looking at the targeting local government autonomy, state police, new states in public hearings. But we've been talking about this over and over. I don't know, is it the offing, the birth of it?
Well, it's another discussion on the table. We'll just have to wait and see if this one will see the light of day. New states, that has been a conversation that's been going on for decades now. I don't know if this time we're actually going to have the new states. The economy is something that anybody should always think of. It should be the first thing in any government's mind, getting the economy in a better state and so on. Local government autonomy is something we should start implementing immediately because of how close they are to the people. The people can only feel the dividends of democracy if the local government system is working and it's vibrant. So I want that to happen.
Absolutely.
As fast as
Our
possible.
key on state policing, I think we've spoken about it enough on this table, and I feel like it's just time that is implemented. With the rate of insecurity that we're seeing, the rate that we wake up one morning, you hear more people have died. We're still going to talk about plateau and what is happening. I think state policing may just be the answer to everything that we've been worried about. But
the thing is, Uncle Sam, if you look at this National Assembly, it sponsored the most bills, since 1999, since we resumed to democracy. But some of them had only, scaled through. But they are talking about creation of 7 states, northeast, 6 from northwest, 3 from southeast. We already have 36 plus the FCT.
I don't think any of this will pass because we are not in the economic state to create states. So that is it. That is it. We're not in that state to create state because the resources are being fought for even as we say now by the political players. So this is just an elite argument. It has nothing to do with the people. It's about me. I want to create my own kingdom so that I can be governor. I want to create my own area so that I can have power. In the way my state is right now, I don't have the kind of muscle I will have unless they create a state for me. So it's an elite argument. The people are not interested. Have you ever seen anybody on the street who has said, "Okay, I want my own state"? It's like I want my own food. I want my own job. I want my own peace and security. So that's it. And as you said, there is a local government enabling law.
That's right.
Which will make it easy for each local government to transform itself into a political unit that is vibrant and that is accountable to the people. And the states are not doing it. Where are the lawmakers to make sure that the governors enforce these laws? These laws are there. The Supreme Court has ruled that all the states should get their money. But the CBN says, okay, if you want to go and open your account, they don't want to open an account.
All right, let's
Have you seen somebody who they want to make rich who does not want
to be rich?
So if you look at the Daily Trust as well as this Nigeria, they're focusing on the insecurity. One is the Plateau killings where we had death toll of 13 people who are not 13. 13 people died. And then we had survivors who were narrating the ordeal of a family traveling from, I guess, Kaduna. To Jos for a wedding ceremony. And they were killed. They tried to explain to them, like, we're not criminals, we're nothing. They didn't listen to them, but killed them.
Wow, there's so much blood spilling in Nigeria, and when the ground is soaked with human blood, there's a lot of cries that's going on. I truly hope that we'll find a permanent solution to this bloodletting, to these wanton killings. I look forward to a period where we'll stay for a whole month and we don't see so and so number of people killed in so and so place. It's getting too much. It's like a broken record now.
That's right.
I'm totally looking forward to that. We are not done with 200 people, now we're coming to 13 people. And whether it's one person or two persons, every life matters. Now, my question is, when does this finally stop? Because it seems like we've become a broken record. We're always speaking about it. We're always reporting about it. But what actions are being taken? We hear that things are said. Are they implemented? Because waking up and seeing it just makes you feel like, are you even safe? I got a call from somebody in the northern part as well over the weekend that was also telling me, speaking about his fears, he can't even go out, he's hearing gunshots. And I'm like, when do we finally put a stop to this? Our president has come out and spoken. We've said, okay, maybe state police and the military. When are they going to be put into the right place?
Okay, so on top of this is a suicide bombing, that happened in Borno. We thought we'd left that era of people putting themselves on the front line to kill themselves.
Yeah, on the Kaduna, on the, what do they call it? On the plateau one, it's very interesting that the governor of Kaduna State himself is urging his governor colleague. He said, I call on the plateau governor, His Excellency Barrister Caleb Mufwang, to use this unfortunate incident to make a bold statement. He must take full charge of the situation and direct the operations of the security agencies until the murderers are brought to justice. And he said, I will personally follow up on the progress made in the investigations and field operations. So, which is very significant, because I'm sure he's making this statement because, for one, the thing happened in Mangu, where the governor comes from. And Mangu had been the relatively quiet part of Plateau until he came. So it's his people. So why are we having violence in his own backyard?
That's right.
It is something that he should also address. On the Borno suicide bomb, it was really shocking that this thing happened. I think they took people by surprise because they know that they cannot, they don't have the firepower to really advance and take over communities the way they used to do. So they can get some people who have been indoctrinated to do it. So I mean, it's when you are fighting somebody who wants to die.
Absolutely.
It's
now,
very difficult to
find that kind of person.
So let's talk about local government. So many things have happened, but I'd like to focus on, because if you look at Nigerian News Direct, look at Inquirer, but one thing that's quite striking is where you have on Platform Times, where Rivers Council boss was flogged with cutlass and forced to sign resignation by thugs. This is the same River State where we have a state of emergency declared by the president, and some are saying that it's illegality. So they're forcing the person that the sole administrator had installed there, let me just use that word, operational term, but should illegality beget illegality?
I hope that's a rhetorical question, because the answer is obvious.
Absolutely, it is.
For them to use a cutlass to flog you around that area is a warning. It is that kind of warning.
No, should it be a warning or a criminal act?
It is actually a criminal act, but the people see it as a warning. Traditionally, it's a warning because we had you. We had cutlasses. We would have ended you right there, but we chose not to. And it's because we want you to do one thing or the other. The downside of it is that there's an emergency rule going on there. We have a military man that has a good record as the sole administrator of Iboete, and this thing is happening under his watch. What has he done? This is going to put a question mark to his period there. So if I were him, I'll sit on top of this, I will see the end of it, and I will make sure that those that should be arrested are arrested and the full weight of the law on them.
But quickly I'll add to it. I beg to differ. There is nowhere in the world where you use violence to take out violence. We've been speaking about violence and saying that it's not good. People should not take matters into their hands. I saw the video and it's gory. No matter what the person has done, nobody deserves to be beaten with a cutlass. You can come out and say, okay, this is it, I want you to leave, but not us taking violence into our hands. And I know that they've said that the people will be arrested, and they should really be arrested, because that wasn't a good thing to do. Even though the man, you do not want him there, there are different ways to go about it. There are peace talks that can be had. Not taking a cutlass. I told man they could have killed the man. What if the man didn't have a good stamina and he died? If he died, what would the conversation have been this morning?
Uncle Sam, apropos of that, I also want you to look at what the Abuja Inquirer has, because it has to do with local government, saying that Wike is under fire over council's workers' strike. So we have 607 schools, 239 clinics remain closed for 4 months. So some are saying that, yes, you're doing roads, you're doing infrastructure, but what you're so pretending over, you're a de facto governor, for crying out loud. Why should you allow that to go on, even though you've released some money?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I want to see how we can respond to this. You know what they say, no man's virtue is complete, according to the play by Bertolt Brecht on Galileo. So no man's virtue is complete. The great Galileo loved to eat.
Yeah.
So we want to see what we will do with this problem, because as they say, Yendeba,
agreement is agreement.
All right, I understand.
So I'm sure we'll have to take a step by step.
I understand we have just a couple of minutes to wrap off, but let's talk on what would affect all of us. If you look at the Punch newspaper, Iran-Israel war, needless war, petrol may hit 1,000 naira per litre as oil price soars. But we have the owner of one of this media house, Bruce, saying that it won't touch Nigeria, if World War starts. But they're saying that our fuel is now going to go to 1,000 naira.
What I guess he was referring to was the way, I think, the Second World War affected Africa, where my great-grandfather...
We were even on the front line. We were there. we fought their war, not ours.
I think that's what Ben Bruce is referring to, but that Israel and Iran are exchanging bombs and all that, and it will not affect Nigeria somehow. That's not possible.
It's never possible.
Well, what you must understand that during the Second World War, it affected us, but there were no bombings in
on the African side,
village or anything like that. There were not. But our people went to war.
Yes.
We became the slaves of slaves. Because
exactly.
They recruited us to fight their own wars.
Yeah.
So that's why they called it World War.
And it
was actually a European war. It was not a world war. Because they conscripted us, just like Charles de Gaulle, who hated the people, the colonies. But when it came to the Second World War, he started recruiting people from Southwest Africa, French West Africa, and all those places, and they went to fight and kill themselves for the people who had become slaves to the Germans, and so became slaves of slaves, trying to fight them. But in this case, it's going to be different, because if oil prices are going to go up, well, it's good for us, but you know that the Ukraine war has affected inflation, supply in the world already. So we're living in a global world, a world more globalized than it has ever been.
Absolutely.
So you cannot predict how wars are going to affect people, because we're getting into
it's just very needless.
Into new territory.
It's very needless, and you could just read up the book by Adolf Hitler, Mein Kampf. Quite interesting. Talking about the World War. Well, that's about it for the newspapers.
Didn't talk about the World War.
Talk about the reason why he did what he did to
He wrote it before the World War.
Before the World War.
Mein Kampf was my struggle. He was talking about his own Nazi idea and how they developed and how society.
I love it when readers back. I love it.
It's anti-Semitism.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they call it.